Welcome to CenterState CEO's semi-monthly podcast, Talk CNY, presented by NBT Bank.
On Talk CNY, you get a look at the people, projects, and planning moving Central New York forward.
I'm Andrew Fish, Senior Vice President of Member and Business Experience at CenterState CEO, Central New York's leading business, leadership, and economic development organization.
And I'm Kate Hammer, business coach and member at CenterState CEO. We are your hosts for Talk CNY. Take a moment right now to subscribe in your listening app for new episodes every other Wednesday.
The great thing about the foundations is we're able to engage our members beyond their membership, but in a way that helps them as business owners and community leaders to have an impact on this community, depending on what their particular interest is and what excites them and where they're looking to go for their own business.
On this episode of Talk CNY, we will talk to Kelly Fumarola, Executive Director of the CenterState CEO Foundation and the CenterState Development Foundation and Development Director, about the important role these foundations play in supporting the work of CenterState CEO and its mission to create a region where businesses thrive and all people prosper. Welcome, Kelly. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Kelly, let's start by hearing about you and about the many hats that you wear here at CenterState CEO.
Sure. So a little about me. I am originally from what I guess we'd consider downstate New York, just outside of New York City. And I came up to upstate New York to go to school at Binghamton and lived in New York and Pennsylvania and came back here in 2006, I believe. And my background is actually, I have degrees in economics and education and somehow fell into the world of nonprofits and grants and fundraising kind of unexpectedly, but I loved it. And so I served as a consultant to numerous nonprofits and municipalities over the years. And then in January 2020, I came on board here at CenterState CEO as the first director of development. So focused on, again, grants and fundraising for the organization. And then this January, I took on the role of executive director of our two affiliated nonprofits, the CenterState CEO Foundation and the CenterState Development Foundation. So that's how I came here. And those two organizations are used to attract grant funding to support the programs at CenterState CEO. And CenterState Development Foundation's a little bit different. It's been used in the past to help with some real estate development projects that many people in Central New York will know, including Pike Block, where we're sitting right here, the galleries, the regional market, and many other really great economic development and real estate development projects. So those are the two affiliates that I'm now responsible for overseeing.
It's great. And a lot of our listeners probably don't even realize that CenterState operates alongside these two foundations, right? And, is there a little bit more you can tell us about kind of why we have these two organizations and maybe why there is the two of them? I know you mentioned a little bit some of the different roles, but why is it important for us to have these foundations?
Yeah, so they were actually formed decades ago by our two predecessor organizations, the Greater Syracuse Chamber of Commerce and the Metropolitan Development Association of CNY. So both of those were business associations similar to what CenterState CEO is now. And in order to engage with the philanthropic community to help support programmings that weren't purely member-based, each of those organizations established these foundations, which is what they're called. So we've kept them on when CenterState CEO became CenterState CEO in 2010, and they're slightly different. CenterState CEO Foundation is what's called a supporting organization. So it supports the work of CenterState CEO that is not specifically member-focused, not chamber-focused. So like Work Train, that folks who have been on here before, Nan Eaton talked about Work Train last episode, and also Dominic and Amy who lead that work. A lot of the funding that we bring in through philanthropic partners comes in through CenterState CEO. Also, we have a fantastic new initiative, the Growth and Equity Fund, and the piece of that is supporting entrepreneurs who come from disadvantaged and marginalized backgrounds. We've been able to attract philanthropic funding through CenterState CEO Foundation to support the Growth and Equity Fund, and numerous other small business development, neighborhood development programs that CenterState CEO operates itself. CenterState Development Foundation is a separate nonprofit, traditional nonprofit, and as I said, has been used in the past to really pull through some really, interesting real estate development projects with community partners and stakeholders of all types. So now we're actually reimagining that foundation a little bit. We might actually do some rebranding, so it might not be called that soon. Right now, we're focusing on fiscal sponsorship. So we actually have a really great fiscal sponsorship agreement with a local volunteer-led project in the Valley, and they're looking to increase food access for that area of the city of Syracuse. So we're looking to, really get into the community and really understand some more grassroots needs. And so CenterState Development Foundation is a really great vehicle for doing that. We'll also be open to, sort of acting as developer of last resort, as we've done with some of these other projects that have been, really great. But we're also looking at other more, community-focused community development opportunities where we can really engage more deeply with some stakeholders around the region through CenterState Development Foundation.
Great.
That was so interesting to hear about those differences, and they are clear between those two foundations and what's happening here at CenterState CEO.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really important because the foundations enable a lot of that work, but the impact is really what's exciting. Is there some particular stories or projects or individuals that you could talk to us a little bit about that have been impacted maybe by some of these programs that you just mentioned that the foundation's been working on?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the really fun part of this, is getting to learn the stories and really understanding the people that are impacted. So one that I'll say in particular, there is a woman who is an entrepreneur in the childcare space, Tanika Jones, and she's looking to open a second facility. It's called It Takes a Village. She's absolutely amazing. And she has been looking for funding, obviously. It's a big deal to put together, to have one facility yet two. So she has been working with the team here at CenterState, and through the Growth and Equity Fund, she was able to access mini grants. So that helped kind of get her to the next level of what she needs in her business in terms of, paying for, the myriad costs that go along with, putting together a big facility like that. So, she kind of came to this understanding that there was a big need in the community, and she's, absolutely amazing. You can just tell she loves these kids. She's incredibly interested in, helping out the community, but also making sure that her staff is, well trained and up on all the latest in education. So it's really just been amazing to see her get to the point where she's just about ready to open up the facility. When you meet people in the community who have such talent and such passion and such drive, and they just haven't had the opportunities, based on a lot of, historical, structural issues and barriers to be able to work with, my colleagues here at CenterState CEO who are doing such wonderful work to kind of break down those barriers and really working with, the clients, understanding that they have real talent and real, incredible things to offer for this community. So I'm excited, for her. Plenty of other folks that they work with, one being Shawnee Davis from Luminary, who I believe she's coming up soon. So I'm excited to hear her talk about that. So just some really wonderfully talented entrepreneurs out there who are being, assisted through the Growth and Equity Fund and, kind of just being allowed to shine, which is wonderful.
That's phenomenal.
Kelly, what is made possible by the existence of these two foundations that otherwise wouldn't be happening at CenterState?
Yeah, so, CenterState does wonderful work working with our members and, from the business community, higher ed, nonprofits, and, the work that's done through, certainly your team and the rest of the team to kind of help them grow is amazing. What we're able to do through the other work that goes on at CenterState, programs such as Work Train or Upstart, our small business development programming, what that is able to do is kind of create this holistic ecosystem for businesses to thrive, and all types of businesses to thrive, right? Even those that haven't been able to, access the resources that they needed. So what's great about the foundations is they provide kind of that vehicle for attracting the philanthropic funding. And, when I say that, it's certainly we work with philanthropic institutions, certainly locally, also nationally. There's an opportunity there for anyone really to engage and be, what we'd say say is a philanthropist. So, for example, I'm talking about Growth and Equity Fund again. Yep. We had a small business owner come to us looking really to pay it forward. It was like we're still kind of in the pandemic, and he has owned a family business and felt just really lucky and fortunate to have gotten where he is. Now I know he's gotten where he is because of the hard work he's done. His name is John Peter. He's been a really great partner. So he's become a donor to the Growth and Equity Fund, and he's been able to not only provide funding to help support some of the businesses that are supported through Growth and Equity, but also, meet with the business owners that are being worked with here and, share his thoughts and his expertise. But also I feel like he's very open and willing. He's learning from them as well. And it's just created like this really wonderful like partnership and relationship with, whether you're a big business, a small business, an individual, like the opportunity to really be a part of what's happening through programs like this, and the foundation as a vehicle for people to, not only donate, but learn about these programs and the people who are being assisted with it is, it's a phenomenal opportunity.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful.
Kelly, you mentioned it. Without these outstanding partners, these funders, people like John Peters and others, the foundation from both the community and Allen Foundation, as you mentioned, and all the others that have engaged, including some of the businesses that have stepped up. Without them, we don't have the ability to implement these programs. And so, they are really super important. And that engagement is what we're really looking for.
Absolutely. And I think, listen, we have a lot of support from our members. As you pointed out, most of our founding supporters for the Growth and Equity Fund were out of our membership, and not only helped by supporting financially, but also helped develop the very program itself. So having that engagement is incredibly important. And I think it just provides another opportunity to really, bring in more resources to bear. Our members are, have been great. They, support the organization through their dues. But we have so much going on here at CenterState. There's never, never a time when we can say that we're done. We've like hit the end of the road, and we've done a program and that's it. There's always more people to engage. Whether it's through more job seekers out there. I mean, we know we have a huge opportunity now with Micron, but even before that, our members have a lot of job opportunities. Yeah. So being able to connect all those people, we're constantly scaling and replicating programs. And the way that we're able to do that is by going out there into the community and really looking at our philanthropy and, again, individuals or our corporations who have their own philanthropic arms or corporate, social responsibility arms, and they're able to leverage those dollars to really support, the programming that's happening so that we can serve even more people and, create an even larger impact. So, the work is never done, as with any, not-for-profit. We're fortunate that we have such an engaged business community that have really been great partners.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just out of curiosity, what specifically do you think is inspiring these funders to give? Is it the projects? Is it the vision, the people? What's your 2 cents?
So I have to say, people around here, and that includes our corporate partners, are really invested in the community. And you can see it, when you listen to the prior podcasts that we've had, with Dave Cavney on there, like they're really invested, really want to be a part of the economic trajectory of the region. So I think we're fortunate in a way here in Central New York that there really is that sense of community. I hear it from people who, maybe weren't even raised here, including myself, having moved here. It's such a supportive community, and a community that really rallies around trying to solve, long-term and persistent challenges. But I always get a sense that people are really hopeful. So I think that translates when it comes to, needing to support, some initiatives that are out there that are really seeing some, gains, even in the short term as we pilot different projects, but some of them that are a little more long-term. As you begin to see the impact, I think people get really excited about that. And also bringing people in, we're not just asking for people to fund the program, we're asking them to be a part of it. Yeah. So, our members are employers, right? Whether they're in, a foundation institution or an institution of higher ed or, a business, they have a vested interest in making sure that, we're identifying all the talent that's out there, making sure that they have a supply chain that, they can access when they need to grow their businesses. So I think there's just a really great understanding here for how we all work together, and I won't butcher the United Ways slogan on that, but I know Nan talked about how, it just works better when we work together. And I think that's really a sentiment that people embrace here.
Individually, we do what we can. Together, we do more.
That's
and,
right,
Nan talked about the history of that giving in this community. And it goes all the way back to the 1920s when they raised over $1 million
exactly.
in such a short period of time. It was amazing to me to think about that. I want to pivot a little bit to more forward-facing, where we're headed. What excites you about the future of Central New York? And what role do you see the foundations playing in that growth?
So I think along the lines with what I was talking about, what it really excites me is that I see so many people coming together, like across sectors, across political lines. Everyone is excited about really getting this right here. Certainly we were already experiencing growth before Micron, but now that Micron's here, like that growth is going to explode, not just from that company, but its supply chain and, all the other ripple effects. So just seeing people working together, really coming together, volunteering their time. Now we have the community engagement committee and, it's wonderful to see all the folks there who are true leaders in the community, a diverse group of people. It really gives me a lot of hope that we will get this right. We just have to continue to work together. We have to see the abundance that's coming. I know not all communities have experienced that. Right. So there's been a scarcity mindset, and I'm, I believe in abundance, but I also understand why some folks don't. So we have a lot of work to do, but incredibly excited about it. I'm hoping that the foundations, we can continue to engage, the philanthropic community. We can expand what people think it means to be a philanthropist, right? I think about, obviously we want to bring in more funding because we want to really, make sure that these programs can scale and replicate and serve more people. But I also, think about for the Growth and Equity Fund, when we had a gathering for the founding supporters, the entrepreneurs came and they gave their time and spent time in that room and talked about their experience. It was amazing. And to me, they're philanthropists, right? It's the love of humankind. And they were there to help everybody in that room get a better understanding. So to me, it's important that we use these foundations to, gather the funding necessary to do the work. But it's also a great way to just bring people together and really have them understand and know how they can work together and what they can bring to the table. So that's what excites me.
It is exciting.
It's the most exciting.
Absolutely. We'll be right back to continue our conversation and talk more about how our members can get engaged in the work of the foundations. But first, a note from our presenting sponsor of Talk CNY, NBT Bank.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
This is Talk CNY, and we are back with CenterState CEOs Kelly Fumarola. As we think about the trajectory for this region and how we all need to continue to level up, think about how we're going to do that. What do you think individuals, members, community groups should be thinking about and should be doing to step up?
I can speak from, my vantage point as leading these two foundations. We're actually leveling them up right now, along with everybody else. So we've done some really great work fundraising against these programs. I know we've talked a lot about the Growth and Equity Fund, but we're right in the middle of trying to recapitalize the fund at $1 million. And I think I can say right now, and be a little bit vague, but we've been able to attract an additional $250,000 to help meet that goal. I can't say right now who that will be from, but more to come. So So pay attention to
There you
your
go. Little teaser there.
your emails from CenterState CEO and the website. But so really exciting things happening as we're, engaging with our partners and, building the capacity of foundations to really be a vehicle to engage folks. We now have a webpage on the incredible new website that the comms team has put together here. So kudos to them. And there's a webpage that talks about us, both foundations. And we now have a way for folks to donate through that webpage to the CenterState CEO Foundation to some of those programs that we have at CenterState CEO, and more to come really as we, try to get more engaged in the community, bring these foundations more out to the forefront so people understand what they are. They've been around for a while and have been doing work, but we're really trying to, engage on a larger level and have a little bit more visibility so that people, including our members, know how they can engage additionally through those organizations. So very excited, work in progress, but we're really seeing some really great gains so far.
It's amazing. Exciting to hear the almost 25% of the way there for our recapitalization of growth and equity. That's great. Go to CenterStateCEO.com, go to the foundations page, learn more about the foundations, donate to the programs. Those are all fantastic ways for people to get involved. Clearly, we can hear that. I know that you really love doing the work of the foundations and bringing these additional resources to the work that we do. If you were to kind of sum up that experience for you, or the role that you play and why that's so important in one or two sentences, what would that be?
Oh, one or two sentences. I just really love bringing people together around a common goal and solving problems. So that's something that I really look forward to doing as I get out in the community and meet more people, but really leveraging, certainly the expertise and the experiences and the networks of my colleagues. All of you, have been doing wonderful work with everyone in the community. So that's what I really look forward to, is getting to know people and helping them to engage in a way that really speaks to them.
Well, we're thrilled to have you doing this work with us, Kelly, and excited to see where the foundations go under your leadership and the ways in which it can support the work here at CenterState.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us on today's podcast.
Thanks for having me.
CenterState CEO's podcast, Talk CNY, is presented by NBT Bank and is available on clickcny.com and all major podcast platforms.
After each episode, you can join us on Click, where we will continue to talk about this topic and provide additional resources and links.
In Click, you can also listen to or watch every episode in this series of Talk CNY.
Click is CenterState CEO's interactive digital chamber platform, where our members connect, learn, and receive support from our staff.
For new episodes every other Wednesday, be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast listening app.
If you're enjoying Talk CNY, consider leaving a quick review or a 5-star rating.